welcome to Nerdabout. We apologize for that slight delay. My name is Beneeta Kaur. I'm a board game Twitch streamer and a social media consultant. And did you all know that German chocolate cake is not from Germany? It was in fact invented in 1852 in Dallas from a chocolatier named Sam German.
I'm Corey Thompson, co-owner of Aboveboard TV, co-host of Board Game Insider, and author of the interview site Dice Tower Dish. And my fact is, in 1927, 7-Eleven opened its first store in Dallas, becoming the world's first convenience store.
Ooh.
Interesting. Well,
yeah, I didn't know that.
Didn't know. All those 7-Eleven runs. I'm Daryl Andrews, freelance board game designer living in Toronto, Canada. I'm also a consultant for Maestro Media. And I know this fact in my bones because I've been there too many times, including just yesterday. But DFW Airport is the third largest in the world. It is bigger than Manhattan. And in fact, it has its own zip code.
Oh, man.
Well,
welcome. Welcome, everybody, to Nerdabout, Episode 9, Dallas, brought to you by the good folks at Lucky Duck Games. Delivering soon from Lucky Duck and Splotter Games is a new redone food chain magnate, while the Mighty Mallard and Van Ryder Games have the cooperative occult app-driven adventure game, The Dark Quarter, coming anytime. Just wanted to showcase a recent crowdfunding project from Lucky Duck, the Flames of Fafnir. You set up your defenses, little cardboard guys and heroes, while this great 3D dragon mini rolls fireballs towards the good guys, destroying all the heroes and barricades.
It's fun.
It is really cool. Nerdabout is a show about travel, food, culture, and general goofiness. We are three good friends within the board game industry who, through joy, jocularity, and je ne sais quoi, have ended up in some absolutely amazing cities.
That's impressive. I love that. I love the word choices that you.
I know, je ne sais quoi. Just what a good word that I don't hear enough. Yeah,
you don't hear
I
enough.
like words.
Yeah.
But with that said, Beneeta, what have you been up to lately?
Before I tell you, Daryl, I'm going to need you to do hand movements for like the rest of the show. Like while Cora was describing the games, you were just like indicating it. Like if you could do that for the next hour, that'd be great. Okay, like the rest of these guys, I was at BGG Con. I hung out with friends, played so many board games, ate a lot of good food, which we're going to all talk about in this episode. I also played a lot of a game called Duck and Cover. It's very goofy, very fun. I played it like over 10 times in like 4 days.
I was in some of those.
You were in some of them, yeah.
Yeah, well,
what did you do, Daryl?
I feel like the Johnny Cash song, I've Been Everywhere, Man. Chicago, Orlando, Dallas, and Toronto. Sorry to Johnny and all fans of music. I butchered that, but I feel like I'm finally home, but got to play lots of fun games.
Oh, man. And I mean, I'm going to say something that everybody has said. Just came back from BGG Con in Dallas. Had absolutely wonderful meetings and socializing and dinners and hung out with friends and designers, played great new games, some amazing prototypes, some really good classics, and yeah, way too much time with Duck and Cover. So addictive. Duck and Cover, Flip 7, and the gang. Those are like the hot many people games that everybody was throwing on tables.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right. So, Daryl, tell us, what is the geeky thing to do in Dallas?
Well, I mean, we all mentioned Board Game Geek convention already, so let's get that out of the way. Obviously, we all three love, Board Game Geek in general, and they host 2 conventions every year in Dallas, Fort Worth area. One of them, as we just came back, the traditional fall one, will be happening again next November in 2025. But they also host a smaller, more family-oriented BGG Con in spring in May each year. And the incredible Board Game Geek library is at both of them. They host the fall one downtown, and then they host the spring one actually in the airport with its own postal code. So, so both of those, check them out. We love them. We're big fans of what Board Game Geek does, and we really appreciate that. I know we've mentioned in other episodes, like our Vegas episode, Meow Wolf is Beneeta. Is there anything to do with Meow Wolf in Dallas?
Yeah, so Meow Wolf is like a very cool installation that includes, interactive storytelling, really surreal environments, mind-bending art, but like overall there's like a full story behind it. Like, and the one in Vegas, the one I actually been to, is a supermarket, but then there's a larger story. And in this one, either it's like a mystery in a suburbia house, and I don't want to go too much into the story, but it is a very cool, like 2 to 4 hour experience. And if you've never experienced a Meow Wolf, you really should. And like, I didn't get to go to the one in Dallas this year, but I'm definitely adding it to my list of things to do, because it is like so incredibly different than like anything else you'll probably ever go to.
Yeah. Big fan of Meow Wolf. So more and more cool Meow Wolf experiences. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Another geeky thing for all our sports geeks out there, a pretty significant landmark is the Dallas Cowboys home stadium, AT&T Stadium, often called Jerry's house after Jerry Jones. And that place cost over $1 billion to build. It is a significant and important architectural wonder that seats over 100,000 fans. So I definitely recommend checking out AT&T Stadium. If you can catch a football game, good luck. It's not a cheap ticket, but definitely something to check out. You can take stadium tours. Oh.
Just want to shout out Maggie Ryan commented on Meow Wolf, and
yeah,
he knows because she did a road trip and visited all the Meow Wolves.
Oh,
that
there
is
you
so
go.
cool, Maggie. You're so cool. That is awesome.
So another expert to turn to. Another geeky thing. Again, we're mentioning things around Dallas. Dallas is an enormous, sprawling city, so they're actually in different neighborhoods and different areas. In the Frisco area is the National Video Game Museum. I have not been, but I really want to go. They feature a giant Pong that I think would be so cool to play.
That's so cool.
They even have
excited.
an exhibit. They have an exhibit of a 1980s bedroom in immaculate, pristine conditions. So you can visit that and relive maybe your childhood, like me. There's also, they put a lot of effort into the history of video games and the preservation of video games. Sure, you might be able to find some digital version, but you can actually play the original copies of games and check them out.
How does it feel that like an 80s bedroom is considered history and belongs in a museum?
Oof, that makes me feel old.
Makes me feel old.
Yeah. Moving on. Another suggestion, if you're into geeky things and you really want to get an iconic Stetson hat or maybe a big old belt buckle, I recommend checking out Wild Bill's Western Store, a pretty iconic place. Famous actors, singers like Bon Jovi, Mick Jagger, you name it, all have been seen shopping there. I'm jumping around on geeky things to see, but we geeks love libraries, so why not check out the George W. Bush Presidential Library and Museum?
Oh, it's so cool. Part of that whole George Bush Presidential Center. It's so neat.
Yeah, so there's a duplicate Oval Office. There's a bunch of things, but the one that I'll give a shout out, the standout that I really want to try out, is the Decision Point Theater, where visitors actually have the information and evidence that the presidents had at their disposal, and you have to kind of choose your own adventure, choose what decisions you need to make. So check that out. That's on my list. In the Denton area, again, we're jumping around to kind of the suburbs around Dallas, but if you're into miniatures, then you know about Reaper Miniatures, and the factory/store is in Denton, and they even have a convention usually around the end of August called Reaper Con. If you like painting minis or playing games with lots of cool miniatures, Reaper is like one of the main miniature companies around the world. Another game company, talking about game companies around Dallas, there's also Goliath Games. They've just recently changed their offices. They were in Plano, and they've moved just nearby, but they have a huge showcase showcase room and etc. They don't have a store, but you can check them out.
Technically,
And I know
they're our sponsor.
and they're the parent company,
technically.
so they own Lucky Duck. And I know, Corey, you were telling me about a really cool store, a vintage store.
Oh my goodness, there's a store called Holocron Toy Store. It is the largest Star Wars only toy store in the US. It has ridiculous amounts of things. If you want like a vintage unobtainium Star Wars product that's thousands and thousands of dollars, they got it. If you just want a toy for a friend who likes Star Wars for a couple bucks, they got it. Just visiting it is amazing. So that's a Holocron Toy Store. It is such a cool place for Star Wars freaks.
I gotta go. I mean, I was just in Orlando watching some upcoming Star Wars previews, and Star Wars is amazing. It still blows my mind. Talking about weird things, like I was just hanging out at Disney.
Really tickled me.
Yeah, there is a place called the Alan E. Flat MD Hand Collection. That's right. You can go see statues, bronze castings of famous people's hands, and not just people. You know, I just said I was down at Disney, so you can see Walt Disney, but you can see all kinds of authors, writers, leaders. You can see baseball players like Mickey Mantle. You can see leaders like Dwight Eisenhower. You can even see Dr. Seuss.
The hands, just the casting of the hands. It's so cool. It's so down to earth. It gives you that physical connection.
Yeah. It's definitely an interesting little sculpture collection. And then one other cool place that's right outside of Dallas, it's called Nirvana, which basically is a restaurant / bar where you can play video games at your table while you eat and drink. They also have a board game menu. So I know there's one in Dallas. I know there's one in Rochester as well. So it's like a mini chain. But like I haven't been, but I really want to, because all the food and drinks are like thematic and nerdy as well. And like, who doesn't want like nerdy food and like eating while playing like in games?
Yeah,
in a social
I've
setting?
been to the Rochester one. It was a cool experience.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. But yeah, so that is all some of the really cool, like geeky things that you can experience in Dallas. But before we go into it more, we want to invite our guest, Isaac Vega. Let me add him to stage. Hey,
welcome.
Isaac. Hello.
Hello.
So
another geeky thing you can experience in Dallas.
Yeah.
Isaac. So Isaac is the designer of classics such as Dead of Winter, Forgotten Waters, Ashes Reborn. He is the co-founder of Rose Gauntlet with Lindsay Road, which publishes games like Keystone North America and Wild Gardens. And he is also the founder of Rose Gauntlet Foundation, which are organizers of Big Gay Dinner and the BIPOC Lounge at Gen Con. So how are you doing, Isaac? How is it?
I'm doing great. Thank you all.
Missed an important part of the introduction, that Isaac is like the greatest guy ever. He is such a delight. And there's an ongoing competition at conventions over who gives better hugs. It's me or Isaac.
Yeah, and what's amazing about this competition is that we just keep giving each other hugs as well.
I know, we just gotta hug it out.
So we're just experiencing the best hug in the universe just in between us.
I mean, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. If we ever sandwiched anyone in between us, I think they'd pass out.
Challenge accepted.
I know, right? Well, Isaac, you just heard us talk the last like 15 minutes about like some cool like geeky sites in Dallas, but tell us something like fascinating about Dallas that like the three of us, maybe our listeners, don't know.
So one of the things that I even learned some stuff from what you guys were just saying, so that's awesome. I'm definitely going to check some of those places out. But one of the things that I've always found fascinating about this area is that in one of the local suburb areas, Addison, we have the most restaurants per capita in that area. So there's over 200 unique restaurants all shoved in on like this one street, and it's like insane amount of options. And
Whoa.
when we had the Plaid Hat Game Studios down here, we literally worked right down the street from there. So it's just like anywhere we wanted to go for lunch, we had access to. One of the things I really love about the DFW area, just in general, is the amount of access to amazing new cuisine that's constantly being popped up. And it's funny because I don't think Dallas is thought of as a food city very much, like in the US, but we have so many different options here. It's not just all barbecue. You know, there's so many different unique things. And we also have the fastest growing Asian population in the area. So like, wow. As far as like in the United States, as far as and so that also brings with it amazing Asian restaurants, which is one of my favorite types of well, there's so many different types of Asian cuisine, but I love Asian food, and there's just so many amazing places to choose from, and I just love it. So yeah, living down here is really convenient for me.
So when you were like working at Plaid Hat Studios, did you like all go to like a different restaurant like every day if there was like 200 around that Addison area? Well,
some of the people on the team were definitely adverse to switching things up all the time. I was always the explorer. I would go here. But some palettes needed to be very satisfied every time, and I'm all right. Well, it's like that one was a dud. Fine, let me go to this one. Like, I love experimenting and exploring. So yeah, I think I had some people on the team were always down, but some people were just like, I need to go and order the same thing every time.
Well, you know, we're talking about all these cool restaurants. So what are some of your favorite restaurants and bars around the city of Dallas?
Yeah, so as far as like Thai food, Best Thai, it's already in the name, is one of my favorite ones on that strip.
It's called Best Thai?
It's literally called Best Thai, and it is the best Thai.
Well done.
It's really, really good. As far as barbecue goes, because everybody wants to know what your favorite barbecue place is.
Words here.
I know.
Ooh.
But it's one that like I don't think a lot of people get to go to. But if you're a fan of Keith Lee, who's like a huge food reviewer, he also agrees with me that Hutchins Barbecue is one of the best in Dallas. And I almost wish he didn't find it because now it's packed all the time.
Oh, really?
It's so good. And it's in northern Dallas, so closer to where I am up in Plano. But I absolutely love it. It's so, so good.
So you said Hutchins Barbecue? Because I want to write it down to go one day.
Hutchins Barbecue.
Okay.
Nice.
And it's so, so good. And then there's just so many other places that I'm a huge fan of. There's this little hole in the wall that I go to very often and I like to take people to sometimes. It's a little bit out of the way, but it's called Latin Deli. And they have these really unique Latin sandwiches that are just phenomenal. And they also have really good crepes for some reason.
Okay.
So I absolutely love that place. We also have this cafe called Casita Bake Shop, and it's just a really awesome organization, Latin-owned company that has been building up little support networks for underrepresented groups in the area, and also just has really amazing baked goods and coffee, and it's just phenomenal. I can go on and on.
I love it.
We love it
so much.
Yeah, no one is stopping. Yeah.
No,
and last week.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And Revolver Taco. We didn't even mention that, Corey.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to talk about it.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Well, before, because all this food talk's making me hungry. Before we go back to that topic, we obviously want to ask you about Rose Gauntlet Foundation and just what you've been doing. What's your vision for the future, and how can we help?
Yeah, awesome. So thank you so much for asking. So the Rose Gauntlet Foundation, it is a nonprofit that focuses on helping underrepresented people in the board game industry find community, find mentorship, and be able to find resources in order to hopefully find additional success within the industry. So we focus on primarily holding events. We hold 3 events per year. Right now, we're looking to expand into more as well.
Yeah.
The first one we started off with was Big Gay Dinner. So Big Gay Dinner happens at PAX Unplugged every year. Here in a couple weeks, we'll be hosting, I think, like, oh my gosh, probably the 8th big gay dinner as in an unofficial capacity, but the third one in an official capacity.
Very cool.
But that's been amazing to see so many queer folks in the industry kind of come together, come around that event and be able to support and get to know each other. One of the reasons that the foundation started off is that I definitely had a need for meeting other people like me in the industry. And because there are, unfortunately, it feels often that I can walk into a room and feel like no one has my same experiences in the industry. I wanted to make a space in which people could walk into the room and suddenly feel like, wow, there is so much representation, so many other people in this space that love this hobby as much as I do are also here enjoying each other and enjoying the games that we work so hard to make happen. And then the other event that we do is the BIPOC Lounge, which is a 4-day, goes the entire duration of Gen Con, and that focuses on BIPOC people trying to find community as well, but also providing a safe space for those that are either in the industry or just hobbyists as well throughout the entire show. So we try to create a beautiful space there. We provide refreshments, an opportunity for people to come in game. We have different mentors come in as well that try to give people different tools in which they can use in order to find further success within the industry, or just receive pitches, get feedback on their designs. We have some extra office spaces as well that people that are professionally and already working in the industry can have some additional space because, as you guys know, Gen Con is a crazy place.
Yeah.
Sometimes just even finding a space to sit
so
down.
Wonderful just having a place to escape.
Yeah, exactly. Just having a place to sit down. And then if you're trying to like have a meeting or host a meeting, it's really nice to be able to have a space when many people of color that are trying to make it in the industry may not have access to these fancy like private offices and things like that.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that that's something available to them as well. And then we also host another event. This year it took place at PAX West called Game Changers that focuses on women in the industry and also having them be able to gather, find a community with each other. Next year, it looks like we're going to be moving that back to Origins where it originally started.
Yes,
as well.
I was so
I can't 100% confirm that, but it's very likely going to happen.
I was so bummed to miss it this
Yeah.
year. I was sad that you didn't do it at Origins again.
But we are also looking, like Daryl alluded to, like what are we doing next? We're looking to expand additional events. Gamma has been very, very adamant that they want more us to participate in their events as well. So we're looking into more possibilities at Origins, and other conventions have reached out as well. So we're working as a board together to try to figure out the best course of action for next year and what we can go ahead and make happen because we have been so lucky to receive so much love from the community. There has been a very obvious need for spaces like this and a desire for spaces like this. And we just keep getting asked to do more and more. So we're going to take baby steps as much as we can at a time to try to make that happen. But I've been so excited
love
to
it.
see.
You're such a force of nature in this. You're doing so much amazing stuff.
Thank you. No, I was talking to a friend this weekend about it, and it's just like, I'm just trying to do the things that I wish existed in the industry when I entered the industry to make me feel a little bit less alone and a little bit more safe, just being myself, right? And I think if there's anything that this foundation can do is leave a lot of people feeling that way as they enter the space, because it's just gonna keep spreading the love of board games. And as we all know, this hobby is so impactful to our lives. Like the more that you give to it, the more you get out of it. And I know how much of a healing and community effect just enjoying board games can have. And I know how much sometimes underrepresented folks don't feel like it's something for them. And I want to make sure that it is something for them because I know how much it can change your life. So I really want to continue spreading the love of board games as far and wide as possible. And the Rose Gauntlet Foundation has luckily been able to help with that endeavor.
So absolutely amazing. I'm so glad that you do what you do.
Thank you, Corey. Appreciate that.
So along those lines, I am super curious. In your opinion, what is a notable or foundational queer positive board game that we should know about?
Yeah, so when we're talking about queer representation and making sure that there is good queer representation in the industry, especially through board games, I think you have to mention the work of Nikki Valens
Yeah.
and Artisans of Splendid Vale.
Absolutely love
what
it.
Nikki is able to do with their ability to tell stories and bring characters to life has just been so inspirational to so many, and I just really appreciate everything that Nikki brings to the table as far as like with their design work. And I'm just so excited to continue seeing what Nikki's going to keep doing in the future.
Absolutely agreed.
Yeah,
1,000%. Dragonholt was just was such a epiphany game for me. The organic integration of queer representation in that game was just perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, Nikki's an incredible designer. I'm a big fan and one of the best at creating characters that represent such a wide variety of people. So thankful for their work. Talking about beautiful games, I mean, I want to circle back around. I mean, first of all, I got to give a shout out for Wild Gardens. I just played that a couple days ago, and it was not only great but stunning. Really,
I say it over and over and over, but the teach that I got from Lindsay about Wild Gardens is the best demo board game teach I've ever.
Oh, nice! I missed out. Although I was taught by Grant, and Grant did a phenomenal job as well. So shout out Grant Lyon for having a great teach as well. But talking about beautiful games, what about beautiful places around Dallas? Is there a spot or two that you just think is just an inspiring or lovely place?
Oh my gosh. I have just recently discovered the Dallas World Aquarium. I love that aquarium so much. It's also kind of a stretch to call it just an aquarium.
Yeah.
There's so many different animals and birds and amphibians and reptiles, and it is just a gorgeous, very tight space. So it's like imagine like a 4 or 5 story big wide building. But how it starts you off is that you're walking through, you see all these gorgeous birds that are just like strewed on the entrance just to get your ticket. Like you just go through this whole avenue. And then some fish that they have around, and then you get in, you buy your ticket, and the first thing you see is like little penguins just swimming by the stairs. Like
so cute.
It's so adorable. And then you walk up the stairs all the way to the top, and that's where your tour begins. And it's this giant central waterfall that goes through the entire building, and you are just looping around the entire building and just seeing a myriad of amazing animals from different areas. And eventually you get down to the basement area where they have all the fish and stuff that is at the bottom of the waterfall that you were just walking, like you're going underneath really cool. The waterfall and everything. It's just such a well thought out place that's absolutely gorgeous, and I really, really love it. And I highly suggest anybody that I know, like LA and New York, they all have great stuff in places. Yeah. But I think this is just such a fun little tight place. And it's only $35 to get in, and a wonderful like little tour. Boom. You hit it, you go through it in about an hour and a half, and it's just wonderful, beautiful place.
Sounds cool.
Oh, that is so cool. So cool. Thank you so much, Isaac, for, all the stories. Talking about Rose Gauntlet Foundation, I literally am tearing up. But we're going to be mean. We're going to go ahead and put you backstage, and we're going to talk about a lot of the things that you've already brought up, a lot of the food, a lot of the beautiful sights. But we're going to bring you back at the end of the show for some final questions. So take a look at the final questions, get your answers ready, because we're going to put you on the spot.
I will contemplate.
Bye.
Awesomeness. All right. So, Beneeta, tell us about some sites and hotels in the Dallas area.
Yeah. When I was like compiling some of the lists, Dallas World Aquarium was also on my list. So I just feel like very vindicated that Isaac also suggested it. Basically, everything he said about that, but you could also see like sloths and manatees. I have never seen a sloth in person. I really want to, so I think that's really cool. I just wanted to add that. But okay, so Dallas has some really cool sites and hotels. So everyone most likely knows because of pop culture, Bonnie and Clyde from the movie. So so the movie is based on a real story, and the actual grave sites are in Dallas. So, they're famous criminals from the 1930s. They were ambushed and shot on the Louisiana State Highway, but they're both buried in Dallas. Different cemeteries, but both buried in Dallas. Some not so grave site places.
Oh, I saw what you did there.
Yeah. Thank you. If I can do a pun, I gotta do a pun.
Of course.
We got the Reunion Tower, which is like the iconic ball essentially of Dallas, which you go up, and it's like a 360-degree observation deck, which offers like panoramic views of the city. And we also got some other slightly death related sites. Daryl, you want to tell us about the grassy knoll?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's very close to the Reunion Tower where we just were staying for, as we talked about earlier, Board Game Geek Convention. So they stay at the Hyatt Regency, and the Reunion Tower is attached to that. And just around the corner is the famous grassy knoll, where at least one of the shots at President Kennedy was fired. Also, just around the corner is the Delaney Plaza, which is where famously Lee Harvey Oswald was said to be on the sixth floor in the formerly known Texas Book Depository, where the fatal shot was fired from. So a couple of more like history, especially I think of growing up and even watching the famous Spike Lee film JFK. You can see a lot of the original footage in a film like that. So when I was there walking around, everything really looked familiar. That's why, because that's a real place and obviously a tragic moment for the nation.
There's actually markings on the road at the exact point where the shots happened.
I didn't know that.
It's emotional.
Yeah. And in the Delaney Plaza, you can go to the sixth floor. There's actually a museum there. I haven't been, but I hear it's actually a great museum to check out.
Yeah, and the museum basically just chronicles the assassination and legacy of President JFK. So it's also very close to where all of that happened. So Dallas has a lot of unusual sculptures. I'm not going to go over all of them, but 3 really stood out to me. You got the bowler hat and umbrella, which is there's a famous furniture person, and their logo was a bowler hat, and so they were let's make a sculpture, and it is 10 feet tall and 20 feet, and it's just a bowler hat. It's so weird, and I love it. And then you also have the eye, and it is a 3-story, so it's huge. It's a 3-story eye that is enormous. It's hyper realistic, meaning there's streaky red veins in the eye. If you Google this, it's actually very disgusting. I don't like how it looks, but it's weird. I'm not an eye person, I guess. And then finally, we have the really iconic Pioneer Plaza, which is just a really huge sculpture installation that depicts a cattle drive, which obviously celebrates Dallas's Western heritage. So all these sculptures you can find around the city of Dallas. So those are some cool sites. Corey, tell us about a hotel in Dallas.
Oh, there are 2 hotels that I think are absolutely historically iconic. There's the Rosewood Mansion on Turtle Creek, which was this enormous mansion originally built in 1925 and passed through a couple different hands, but it became a hotel in 1979. It's, of course, really high-end hotel, but it's gorgeous. It's huge. It has artwork. It's everything you'd expect from a turn-of-the-century mansion. The other one is the Adolphus Hotel, and this was intentionally built in 1912 to be the largest, most luxurious hotel in Dallas. It was built by Adolphus Busch, who's the co-founder of Anheuser-Busch, and it's had so many famous people stay over the years. Most notably, Queen Elizabeth stayed there in 1991. So the Adolphus is it's a very cool luxury hotel meant to be a luxury hotel.
So actually, when I was in Dallas this weekend, I actually went to the Adolphus Hotel for drinks with some friends. And so they just opened up and I know this is going into the drink section, but like because we're talking about the Adolphus, it was called the French Room, and it's this really like luxurious and opulent room with like fireplaces, and right now they had Christmas decorations, and they had like holiday drinks. So I had a drink that had a toasted marshmallow on it. Also, probably one of the best like espresso martinis I've ever had in my life. And I've had a lot of espresso martinis. So it's very good. It's a very good espresso martini. So, and when you walk into the Adolphus, you're just like, it looks really fancy. It's all like dark wood panels, gleaming, great decorations, marble. But yeah, good place to get some drinks after dinner.
So, well, Beneeta, you've helped us with the transition already.
Yeah, there you go.
We're talking food and drinks. Corey, like where do we need to go? What do we need to eat?
I just want to note that I think literally there was like a little mini fight among us about who got to do food and drink for Dallas, because there's so many amazing places, and of course I won. So you can't talk about Texas, and more specifically Dallas, without talking about barbecue. And the number of barbecue places are off the chart. You already heard about Hutchins, which don't tell anybody because Isaac doesn't want anybody else to know about it.
Yeah,
keep it secret.
I know, but everybody who lives in Dallas, goes to Dallas, has their own favorite. My personal favorite is the Pecan Lodge. Mm-hmm. Pecan Lodge is just amazing barbecue food in a really casual atmosphere, but what brings it just one step ahead is the sodas that they have on tap are these bizarre gourmet sodas from a company called Maine Root, and they have blueberry soda on tap.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's so good.
I have not been to Pecan Lodge. I'm so upset.
I was upset. My last visit, though, they were already sold out on the beef rib, which is the best thing on the menu. So a tip: go early, maybe even go for lunch, because when it sells,
or the burnt ends. The burnt ends.
I got burnt ends.
Freaking good.
So good.
Other ones, there's Terry Black's, which is a chain. I thought you had a reveal coming. Yeah. And Terry Black.
Oh my gosh, you brought that with you. So Terry Black's is the barbecue restaurant that I have been going to every year that Daryl introduced me to. And it's so good. I like the beef rib there is amazing. But probably my favorite thing on the menu, and I've tried almost everything, is a tie between the brisket and the jalapeno and cheddar sausage. It is so stinking good. But their mac and cheese is so-so, which is a little disappointing.
That's disappointing.
Yeah.
So we've got Terry Black's is like a mini chain. There's locations in other cities. Austin has a Terry Black's. We've also got Heart 8 Barbecue. Hard 8 Barbecue, and this is a favorite among tons of people. It's your traditional pit barbecue. The food is so good there. We've got Slow Bone. We've got Rudy's, which I got to go with Scott Morris and Grant Lyon, who we talked about earlier. Rudy's is just amazing for little tacos and burritos of barbecue. We've got Cattle Neck Barbecue. Be careful of this one. It's only open Wednesday to Friday and the first Saturday of every month. And a lot of them have strange hours like this.
It's worth it, though. I've been. It was worth it.
Of course.
Do they not like to make money? What the hell is this?
They make enough. They make enough.
Barbecue is an art form, and they open when they want, and they don't have to be open all the time. You need to seek them out. They don't need to be open.
Clearly.
We've got Lockhart, which has sausages that are shipped in from legendary Cruise Market in Lockhart, Texas. Lockhart Barbecue is these are all incredible. It's hard to pick a favorite, and I don't think fighting over which one is worth it. I think everybody should just go to
everywhere.
I've been to all of the ones we've mentioned, so
I want to
all
go.
worth it.
And finally, we got Goldie's Barbecue, which in 2021 was #1 on Texas Monthly's barbecue list.
Wow.
And I think it's important that there is a Texas Monthly barbecue list.
All
of these are great. And then we should mention that a lot of the restaurants that keep coming up are in one particular district. in Dallas, which is Deep Ellum. Deep Ellum is just full of the most amazing food. Pecan Lodge is there. A couple others we're going to talk about in a minute. Revolver Taco Lounge, which Isaac brought up, and Isaac was kind enough to take me to Revolver on this last trip. That's in Deep Ellum. It is fantastic for food. However, be a little careful. It's really crowded. It is a party center, a lot of cruising, a lot of drinking, and at night it can be a little rough and a little crowded, so a lot of crowd share systems won't drop off or pick up in Deep Ellum after certain hours, just because it's so hard to get through there.
Yeah, and according to Maggie, who's been hanging out, people tend to disappear if you're by yourself, like around 2 or 3 a.m. So, pro tip, don't do that.
A little rough. Little rough. All right. So I want to talk about Revolver Taco Lounge. This place was incredible. This was the personal recommendation from Isaac. So little history. Regina Rojas, who's the son of a legendary gunmaker Arturo Rojas, opened Revolver Taco Lounge in Fort Worth in 2012. It is going to be featured, or might currently be featured, on a Netflix show called Taco Chronicles, which showcases different taco joints across the world. And one of the episodes is Dallas, and the featured restaurant is Revolver. We all went. I went, I believe, 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah, he was hooked. He was hooked.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. They had an octopus taco with one big tentacle in the middle of a taco. They had duck. They had beef tongue that was actually Wagyu beef tongue. But even their standard tacos, their pastor, their birria, they were amazing, just incredible. The sauces were good. The tacos were fantastic. And even the drinks, they had traditional aqua frescas, and they had a cucumber aqua fresca that was just so delicious. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Corey took me there this time, and I'm such a fan. And I got a regular margarita. It was a Revolve margarita. It was a little bit spicy, so delicious. But I have to mention the Diablo hot sauce. It was so spicy, but it was just so good. Because sometimes there's a hot sauce where it's just spice for spice's sake. But this was a hot sauce that had spice and flavor, and the flavor was very good. And it made already delicious tacos even better. So I drenched my tacos in this Diablo sauce.
But how do you cool off that hot sauce?
Oh, yes. That's a great transition, Corey. So right next door is Von Leeuwen Ice Cream. So it is like an artisanal ice cream chain. It was founded in Brooklyn, but it has a lot of dairy and vegan options. And for people who know me, if I'm talking about vegan options, I taste tested some vegan ice cream and I was surprised. It tasted like regular ice cream, and they have some really unique flavors like honeycomb, Earl Grey, vegan cookie crumble, strawberry jam. I am a basic bee, and I got strawberry because that is my favorite ice cream flavor. But I did try 10 different flavors, because you walk in and the woman behind the counter was like, you can try any sample you want. And me and a few others took very much advantage of this offer. And it was so good. Corey, what was the flavor you got?
Oh, I got sweet potato casserole and blueberry donut. So amazing. But there's so much food. We're actually running out of time on food. I can't go without mentioning Wabi House. 1, it's the place that Isaac took me to last year. And 2, it is such good ramen. So you normally think Dallas ramen, but like Isaac said, there's such a growing Asian influence within Dallas. So Wabi House, fantastic ramen.
I would be, all of these places I have loved and enjoyed, but I had a new experience this year, a little different, that I got to give a last shout out before we end our segment on food and drink. But I went to a place called DeLuca Gaucho Pizza and Wine. It is like if you thought of a Brazilian steakhouse, how they go around, but instead of meat, they go around with pizzas. And so they would
about something like that.
So they would fire and so everything's fresh. There's no like, it's not like a Pizza Hut buffet where it's sitting under.
Yeah, it's not like a CC's or something.
No, it's not a CC's.
Yeah.
It's like gourmet, fast, oven baked. They actually had a bunch of other things too. So you could have lobster bisque, unlimited lobster bisque, a really lovely arugula salad, meatballs to the table, all these different appetizers that were also unlimited. And you just ask them and they just keep bringing them. But they had, I ate 16 different slices of pizza.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
Half of them were dessert pizzas. So they had like a banana pizza, a guava pizza, a Nutella pizza. Like
how
all
big are
these
the slices?
They were thin, but they were a large pizza that they would walk around. Now I was in a group of like 8 of us, so almost every time they'd come by with a pizza, all of us would be like, yoink, there goes the slices. But they would walk around, and we could even request like, oh, we've had, I had a lamb pizza, and I was like, oh, that was awesome. Could I have more of that? Or tikka masala pizza, or there was a great corn pizza, like it tasted like an elote with like spicy and like mayo.
So cool. I want to go to that next year. That sounds amazing.
So that's my new surprise find from my friend Eric Cancel, who lives in the DFW area. So shout out to Eric for finding that new spot for me. He surprised me. He wouldn't tell me where it was until he picked me up from the hotel. And
I'm honestly genuinely surprised you agreed, because if you all don't know, Daryl is very picky about where he goes and eats. So I'm really surprised you like agreed to like not know the restaurant before going.
It was a dangerous gamble, but it paid out.
Very cool.
All right. Well, I mean, so that takes us through kind of our traditional segments. So why don't we invite Isaac back for our final portion of all of our episodes? Thank you, Isaac. I mean, the first thing we always like to ask our guests is fact check us, please, if there's any details or things we said wrong, or usually I've mispronounced.
No, I think you guys were right on the money and made me very hungry as well.
I know, right?
I'm like, I gotta go. Actually,
yeah.
I can drive down the street and get to these places.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I'm going to hit you with our last question, but we will go to you last so that you have the most time to think about your answer. But, we had to go with the fact that Dallas is, often thought of, at least initially, as a cowboy state. You got your Dallas Cowboys. So what is the best cowboy board game, or we'll modify and also say cow theme if you want to go there. I know
that really opens things up.
That opens it wide up. That's like 2-3 board games.
I came up with 4 or 5 cow board games.
Yeah, it opened up stuff for me, so I'm glad it's not just a cowboy theme.
There you go. Okay, great. Yeah. So that works. That's helpful. So why don't we go to you first then, Beneeta?
Yeah. So as soon as you said cow, I'm like, immediately my brain goes to Great Western Trail. Great Western Trail is you're a rancher. You're trying to herd your cattle from Texas to Kansas City, where you send them off by train. It is very much a Euro game where you are managing resources. You're getting workers. You're sending off your cows and selling them. It's great. Now there's like a trilogy of like Great Western Trail, New Zealand, and I think there's one more. And then they did Argentina, thank you. And then they like redid the main game, Great Western Trail, where they're not like angry men on the cover, which I appreciate. So, make sure you get the second edition. And the art is better too. So that is my choice.
The new art is significantly better. The fact that you opened up cows made me start to consider one of my games, because I have the Oregon Trail. So
nice.
that was a shameless self-promotion. And then
that's got to be one of the plugs is like,
right. And then next plug, another Western themed cowboy, Quick and the Undead. But I couldn't pick my own, but I did give them a plug. My instinct was to say Bang, because who hasn't played Bang?
Right.
But I got to give a shout out for an indie game, Finger Guns at High Noon. If you haven't played this, it's ridiculously fun. You have to. But my pick has to be my favorite game from last year. I'm still not finished it, but that is Ticket to Ride Legends of the West.
Nice.
I'm playing through this with my wife and my mom. I love it. I'm so sad we're almost at the end. I think we're one game away. And
I shotgunned the whole thing in like 2 days.
I haven't finished either.
I've teased it out, but I know I'm actually going to play again, and I'm going to shotgun it real soon. So that's why I need to finish, because Erica Bayoris just got a copy, and so we're going to blitz through it this December.
Ooh.
So, but it's so good, so good. How about you, Corey? I think I know why you picked a certain game, because you love a certain designer.
It's so true. Well, I gotta just like the honorable mentions here.
Yeah,
man.
give us some of the honorable mentions we didn't touch on.
Oh, of course, Flick 'em Up is so fun. Pew, 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 pew. Yeah, absolutely love it. And I gotta throw out like the goofy game that I think is great is Mutton Bustin'.
Oh yes, Mutton Bustin' is fun.
Dice rolling crazy, but my pick is Coloma. It's got a new version coming up, Coloma by Johnny Pack.
You love that Johnny Pack.
Love Johnny Pack's designs. Coloma, first of all, beautiful presentation. It's got a board with a dial that's magnetic, so you can spin it on the magnet. And you're trying to manipulate a whole bunch of things at once, building. You're getting gold, you're building buildings, you're trying to deal with rustlers that are coming to town. But it is a game of second guessing the other players. It's a game where you pick your action, and if other people picked it, it's a bust, and you get a lesser version. But if you alone picked it, it's a boom, and you get a super version. And that mechanism just really is a cool one. So Coloma, and by the way, Coloma, I have to say, it's Johnny Pack's passion project. His very first game was a game called Hangtown, based on Coloma, which is a town in Gold Country in California. And so this is the way Hangtown would have been done if Johnny had the resources when he first started in the industry.
I played Coloma for the first time last year at BGG-Con, and I absolutely loved it. But I've been trying to find a copy, and it's like I can't find it anywhere. So you're saying that he's coming out with a second? Oh, okay. That's exciting to know. I'll wait. Good to know.
All right, Isaac.
Yeah.
All right. Well, actually, Beneeta stole my answer when it comes to board games.
That happens.
But, all the reasons that you said. A Great Western Trail is amazing, and I love when I get to sit down with a nice big crunchy thing that's so thematic as
absolutely.
well. So I still haven't played Argentina yet, which I really want to give it a go.
It's really good.
But I need to try that one. But I wanted to give a mention to an RPG, actually.
Yeah. Here we go.
Nice.
Cowboys
your show, your rule.
Cowboys with Big Hearts. So the premise of Cowboys with Big Hearts is that you are all cowboys who have a terminal illness.
Oh my God.
Brokeback. Brokeback Mountain.
So everything that you do in the game is almost going to put you on the brink of death.
Oh my God.
You have to be very strategic as to how you're going to tell this story, but you're all cowboys that are we're out there on the last run. We're trying to save the town, but any minor thing could just send you over the edge of the game.
Oh man.
So funny.
The last campfire chat.
Yeah, so it's a wonderful one-shot RPG that's just like so thematic and so much fun. And you get into it really scratches your brain because you're always trying to problem solve ways. How can I solve this problem with the least amount of stress to my character as possible? In order to survive. And then there are some Hail Marys that you could go put together, or like little snake oils that you can take in order to just get past the next part. And it's just great. It's so much fun.
Oh, that's incredible.
I also feel like we talked about death so much in this episode. Maybe.
Wow.
Well, Isaac, we want to say thank you for being on our show, telling us about Dallas, telling us about, Cowboys Big Hearts. Where can people find you, and where can people find
I learned how to do this at BGG.
Nice.
Yeah, people can go ahead and find me. We're at Rose Gauntlet, pretty much on every social media platform. If you want to find me specifically, I'm at Isaac on Earth on most social media platforms as well. You can always go to our website, www.rosegauntlet.com, for more information there. And I'm going to be at PAX Unplugged, and we have a booth at PAX Unplugged. So I look forward to seeing everybody there.
Oh, fantastic. Awesome. I'm Corey Thompson on YouTube. I have the Above Board TV YouTube channel, so check us out. We've got cool videos. I've got dicetowerdish.com. Check that out for interviews. And boardgameinsider.com for Stephen Bodicor, Ignacy Chebacek, and myself for our podcast.
I am Beneeta Kaur. I stream on Twitch Mondays and Wednesdays, and tomorrow I will be streaming the Avatar Last Airbender cooperative deck building game with my dad. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm excited because he has seen like Avatar like multiple times. Like he's a bigger anime nerd than I am. So I am very excited to play that with him tomorrow.
Oh, I'm looking forward to watching that. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you can find me on the socials. Usually it's my name, Daryl Andrews, sometimes with my middle initial M. And yeah, especially love talking game design. So if anyone out there is interested in learning about game design, or you already are and you want to, chat about it, reach out. I also want to give a shout out for our next week's episode. We are focused on Philadelphia. Funny, Isaac should mention PAX Unplugged. So people can tune in and hear all about planning ahead to their PAX Unplugged trip. We have an amazing special guest, Heather O'Neill, who will be our go-to expert and fact checker. And with that, I want to say a special thanks to Isaac for being with us. Thank you so much for joining our show.
Thank you.
We love what you do, and we love y'all out there. So keep having fun, visiting cool cities, and playing fun stuff.
See you later.